Hey everybody, welcome back to my channel. It's Constance the Reader, and today we are doing a book tag. Now, I mentioned the last time I did a book tag, I found this huge list of book tags online, so I'm just kind of picking my way through the ones I find interesting, and I wanted to do the currently reading tag. Now, this one is really short, so don't worry, we're gonna have a really short video on our hands. This was created by Charlie Rainhorse. I will link this particular one in the description box down below along with the question, so feel free to do this. I think one of the last questions is to tag who you think you would like to see do it. I'm tagging you if you would like to participate in this. Feel free, I'm not going to call anyone else out, but if you want to do it, please do it. And if you do, I want to see your video, so let me know if you do it. So without further ado, let's get into the currently reading tag. Question 1. How many books do you usually read at once? For me, it varies. I obviously have started to read more manga in my life now. So as a mood reader, I pick tons of things off of the shelves. So I think I have maybe 15 volumes around me at once. Okay. I pick and choose as I am just feeling in the mood for something. Does it mean I read everything that I pick? Not necessarily. So when it comes to that stack, I guess whatever's there. When it comes to what's on my Kindle or a regular book, honestly, I would say I have 5 books at once. I finished a book for NetGalley, so that was one that just recently happened. I'm currently listening to an audiobook. I want to start another audiobook soon. I think one of those should be from NetGalley as well. And I've got a nonfiction book I'm interested in that I keep picking up, but I'm not reading very fast. Again, all of the volumes of manga. So I would say a safe bet is usually 5 books at a time. I like it that way. I don't know how it works for me. I'm able to keep the plots in my head pretty decently. Even when I was reading just fantasy, it wasn't that hard for me to remember what book I was reading, who the characters were. It's once I'm done with the book that it's really hard to remember everything because I read so much. But all in all, I'd say 5 is a good solid one, but I have been known to read more than that. Question 2 ties into the last one. If you're reading more than one book at a time, how do you decide when to switch to reading to the other book? Do you read a certain amount of pages in each? All right, so when it comes to nonfiction, I'm really hit or miss. Sometimes I can be very engrossed in a nonfiction book and I try to read a chapter to completion. I don't often get in the mood to just sit down and read a nonfiction in one go though. So it's a chapter every time I'm feeling in the mood to read nonfiction. When switching to other stuff, it's so weird. I never know when I'm going to just get excited about reading a book and then get excited about another book at the same time. Not too long ago, I was doing a reading vlog where I was trying to read mostly manga, but I was in the middle of reading First Comes Like. And there's just something about First Comes Like that had me I can't stop reading this. So I think because I'm a mood reader, it's really hard. I just I don't know. I never know. I just kind of pick things up. If it catches my fancy, I might just shoot through that shit. And then other times I'm I'm just interested in picking up things here or there. It's a lot easier to finish a manga in one sitting though. Obviously, it's essentially less than 200 pages if you're not reading an omnibus. So I could read many volumes at once, but I might get kind of tired of reading that format and only want to read a fantasy, So it's all about my mood. I really don't pick and choose how I go about switching in between the books that I have on my TBR. It's just whatever I'm feeling that day. The next question, do you ever switch bookmarks while you're partway through a book? No. I don't collect bookmarks like that. I have a lot of bookmarks because book of the month, they would send so many. I got a handful, a stack of bookmarks the other day from Barnes & Noble. This cashier was just like, do you want them? And I'm like, sure, I guess. I think you get something that could be considered a bookmark from Right Stuff orders. So I have a collection of bookmarks, but I don't collect them. And once it's in there, it's in there. I don't need to switch them up. Next, where do you keep the book you're currently reading? So I'm gonna insert some pictures for y'all. So every day where I read is in my living room. Sometimes I read in my bedroom, but usually I fall asleep really quickly. So there's always one stack on the right side and on the left side of me all the time. Sometimes there's someone behind me as well. If I've just pulled way too many volumes of manga, because as I said, if I just feel like this seems interesting, I might just pull it. Why not? So I keep the stack that I want to get to the right side of me on my sofa. And then on the left side, that's what I'm most likely going to be picking up reading. So, you know, always my Kindle is beside me, always some normal regular book. And then God knows how many volumes of manga I have beside me. It varies. I don't know. And then I'm swapping back and forth. What time of day do you spend the most time reading? During the day. I am a morning person. Now, does it mean that there are days that I go without reading? Yes, there are quite a few days that I go without reading. And honestly, I feel like in this month, I'm kind of in a reading slump. I'm not really sure why, but I do mostly read in the morning. I don't tend to read at night because I fall asleep really, really easily once like it becomes dark outside. And whenever I try to read in bed, I fall asleep because we don't have a television in our room. So the bedroom, it's for two things now, but the main one is sleeping. So it's like, as soon as I lay down, my brain automatically is kind of like, it's time for sleep. I'm lucky like that. So yeah, it's mostly daytime. How long do you typically read for in one go? That varies. So as I said before, not all the time, but most of the time, if I start a volume that is manga, I can read it in one sitting. It's pretty easy. I might put it down for a second, and it takes about an hour to read one volume. Anything else, I don't often like time myself when it comes to reading other books like fantasy or young adult. But I would say if I really had to like time myself, I think that if I did, it would probably come out to like maybe a total of like 3 hours in a day. I might actually go about timing myself next time to see how long I actually read, because that would be really interesting to know. When it comes to manga, one go, one volume, not an omnibus, takes me an hour. So if I read 3 volumes, I've read for 3 hours. When it comes to anything else, I think that when I'm reading my Kindle, if I'm reading like a NetGalley book, because even though I have a lot of regular Kindle books, I send everything from NetGalley to my Kindle. So I haven't read anything that's not NetGalley on my Kindle in a long time. And I would say maybe like a total of an hour for that, and then any other thing. But I'm gonna check next time. I'm gonna record myself. Do you read hardcovers with the dust jacket on or off? I used to read them on because I didn't care. But then when I started reading Throne of Glass, some of those covers were like a velvety texture. It felt good, but I lotioned myself and I put it on my leg one day and I had lotion on it, and that really pissed me off. So since then, many years ago, I stopped reading with the dust jacket on. I actually now find it really gross to have it on there. Just, it's flopping everywhere. Because back in the day, I used to use the desk jacket as a bookmark. Now I don't. I just put it off to the side. Which position do you mainly use to read? I sit upright. I sit upright, and I'm usually leaning, to the left or right. I mean, it just depends. But I'm always sitting up. I don't really read laying down. Whenever I try to read in bed, which again, doesn't really work out all the time, sometimes I'm laying down, but if I had to choose one over the other, it's definitely going to be sitting up on my sofa. Do you take the book you're currently reading with you everywhere you go? Pretty much. So I work 5 days a week. I hate that I do this sometimes because it's so annoying, but I have this huge tote from Book of the Month, and I think I've actually put 10 books in there before, which is just why do I do that? I bring my Kindle every time. Do I pick it up? Not always. I don't always read, even though I bring all these books with me places. But when I'm out and about for work, because I'm gone all day, I'll bring at least 5 to 6 books with me. It's mostly manga that I'm currently reading or want to get into reading, a regular book, and then my Kindle. Now, if I go to see my friends or I go to see my family or I'm going to an appointment, a lot of the times I don't bring a book. I just have headphones and I will look at TikTok on my phone. If it's an appointment, not with my friends, I want to give them my attention. How often do you update your progress in the book you're currently reading on Goodreads? So I use Goodreads and Storygraph. Storygraph is better than Goodreads. I'm just going to be one of the many people who say this because it is very true. Storygraph is superior. It tracks everything better. I like that you can choose the editions a little bit easier, although not every edition is on there, but not every edition is on Goodreads either, so whatever. But I don't track them as well as I should on either, but I think I do a better job on Goodreads. So I did recently kind of mess up and not input all of the manga volumes I was reading, which was annoying because it fucked me up because I didn't do the thing on my shelves where like I flip a volume that I left off on, you know, if I hadn't made it but so far into the series. For example, I guess I didn't input certain things for Hunter x Hunter. So I, for some reason, thought I was on volume 19. I was on volume 16. Very easy mistake, not that big of a deal. But I've kind of fallen off updating Goodreads as much as I used to. Probably just because of how many volumes of manga I read. So I would say I try to be diligent after every time I read a book. Hopefully I've already put it on Goodreads, Storygraph. Some of them I said I wanted to read and I just kept them on there. Maybe I kind of wasn't in the mood for them. But I try to be good about putting it on there, and when I'm done taking it off, I don't always leave reviews all the time. I am just using it strictly for tracking, really. But yeah, I would say like I'm pretty decent. I'm pretty good. Sometimes I fall short, but at the end of the day, as long as you try, that's all that matters, right? But yeah, again, Storygraph is much better than Goodreads. If you want something that's going to really like break down your stats, do Storygraph. Goodreads is cool because it's just really easy and I'm used to it. So I do feel like it's much quicker for me to do things with Goodreads, but it's not better than Storygraph. It's really not. And the really cool thing about Storygraph is you can do a buddy read with another person. So I've done a buddy read through there with my sister, and the cool thing is if you're reading the same book and you are actually updating your progress and you're leaving comments as you go through the book, it will hide it from the person that you're doing the buddy read with until they get to that page. And I just think that's really cool. And if Goodreads has that, I wouldn't know. I don't think it does. I don't think they have any intention of ever making it good, so it just kind of exists. But Storygraph is better. But I digress. That is the currently reading book tag. If you want to do it, like I said, please feel free. I wanted to get a little book tag in there because, as I said, I had a little reading slump this week. I don't know what's been going on. I've been waiting for a bunch of stuff to get delivered to me for my office so I can do an office tour. That has been a pain, but I got the last thing I needed. So I will be filming a book room, an office upstairs, every situation tour for y'all. Because y'all voted, that's what y'all wanted to see. So there you have it. If you like the video, please like the video. If you like it, subscribe, hit the notification bell. Follow me on other social media. It's down in the description box down below. And you have a good day. Goodbye.